Hey guys, it's Lisa. This video is going to be about eczema and eczema care, mostly like the care and treatment that you'd want to do to take care of your eczema if you have it. So if you you probably found this video by searching for eczema or whatever, but if for some reason you stumbled upon this by accident, and you don't have eczema, you don't know anybody with eczema, you're not looking on how to treat your child's eczema, see next video because this won't be anything of interest to you, and I don't want to like gross anybody out. So I'll give you a second. So otherwise, if you found this on purpose, or if you're looking on what to do for yourself or someone else, welcome. So I have eczema, and I also have other dry, itchy, red, irritated patches that are related to celiac disease because I have that as well. So, which celiac, if you for some reason don't know, it's where your body does not tolerate gluten, found in like wheat and all these different things. So, um, yeah. So I actually use some of these things to treat both, but I figured since eczema is really common, I would do a video on what has helped me the most to treat mostly my eczema and other just dry, irritated, red, itchy, inflamed, awful, irritating skin. So I'll get started. Well, and first, I'll let you know a little bit. I mean, eczema, I'm sure if you are watching this, you probably have at least a basic idea of what it is. I mean, it's just inflamed, dry, irritated, itchy skin. It can, and by itchy, sometimes you can want to itch your skin off of you because it can itch that bad. I have it weirdly enough on the tops of my feet, not like covering my whole feet, and I'm not going to show you, but there's a little patch on my left foot and a bigger patch on my right foot, and just like I said, sometimes I could scratch my feet right off of me because it itches so bad, and then other days it doesn't bother me hardly at all. But eczema can kind of be related to stress, diet, hot showers. I mean, there's so many different variables that can come into play. Whereas the patches that I have gotten other places seem to be directly related to my diet being like gluten, because especially when I first started going gluten free, because I had to, I one of the first things that I noticed that was getting better were the patches that I had on my hands and arms and my back. So that's what made me self-conscious. I mean, because most of the time, I luckily, and I strive not to care what anybody really thinks. I mean, I'm myself. I try to be a nice person as best that I can. And, some people can just judge on like the most trivial things. But when it came to like irritated red, like kind of gross looking patches on my hands and like visible areas, I got self conscious about it because there's a stigma surrounding, and probably rightly so, around when you like skin diseases or when you have something that looks weird on your skin. I mean, people think like, ew, what is that? Or like, I don't want to catch it. Is it contagious? Like, all those things come into play. So I tend to got I was getting so self-conscious of the patches on my hands. I had a big one, red one on the top of my hand here. My knuckles um were getting so red and irritated, and they didn't even itch that much. It was just they looked bad. And I was so grateful when I cut gluten out. I mean, so many other things got better too, but there were so many things going wrong that, like, yeah, cutting gluten out basically I feel like was like one of the best things that I've done for my health. Not only do I have to because my body just rejects gluten, but there are so many variables that can be affected with like celiac, and when you're eating gluten if you're not supposed to, that so many things got better in that same time frame. But one of the first things that I noticed was the patches on my hands and my elbows and my back. They totally disappeared pretty much in the first 2 weeks. So, but the patches that are on the top of my feet, those aren't related. They can kind of flare up if I eat a lot of gluten, especially like when I don't know that I did, or like, yeah, it's one of the signs sometimes that I can tell like, oh, I definitely got, poisoned by the gluten because my skin is flaring up. And then like stress and such like that. But the eczema, isn't as affected directly like the patches on my hands and my elbows were as the patches on my feet. Yeah. So, but because it's both like inflammation and like dry, red, itchy, they're kind of the same types of skin. I use some of these things if the patches on my hands and such do flare up. But as far as my feet go, since it is eczema, they did a patch biopsy, they call it, to make sure that it wasn't something else that could be an underlying symptom or like a symptom of an other underlying issue. They do know for sure that that's eczema. So I have a couple different things that I use depending on how bad it is. And one kind of new because a friend of mine, her daughter who turned a year old in September, she's been having little patches of eczema, and my friend's been using this stuff on her, and it's been helping a lot. So I tried that myself, and it is helping me too. But I'm going to show you the two things that don't really help that much because I feel like they're two things that do get recommended a lot for eczema therapy, like an eczema treatment. And one is really surprising to me actually because a lot of people I think have responded well to this. So you never know, but and my skin tends to be sensitive in general, and I can't really find a rhyme or a reason to it. Sometimes I think it's the fragrance in something. I can't I can't tell. I'm not sure what it is specifically, or maybe there's a couple different things that my skin is so sensitive to. Because I might even break out in hives, or I might just get kind of irritated skin, or just a little itchy and dry. It kind of depends on what it is. But I think there's something in this, the Aveeno eczema therapy, that actually irritates my skin. Because I have other products that have similar ingredients to this, and they treat it really well. They're really an effective treatment for the skin, but this one for some reason isn't for me. And I kept trying it, thinking like, but surely it's supposed to work because it's for eczema. And it was expensive, I think, for what it is, and a drugstore product. I think it was like $13 or $14 for this tube. So I did get it, I think at CVS, which I could have taken it back, but it's been so long that I still have it. I think I've used like it down to here. But there was something about this that I usually put the treatment stuff on at night after I've taken my shower to kind of lock in moisture and just give the product a chance to really soak in and do its job overnight. So I would use this just like I just said, and it seemed like the next day my skin would be more itchy. So I hardly ever reach for this. In fact, it's been months since I've used this. Another thing, really, the only time that I ever use this is when my skin is really doing pretty well. I kind of use it as just something to just keep the moisture in, because that's part of what can help your eczema is by keeping it just the area super moisturized and protected. And that's what Vaseline can do. However, if my skin is getting a little worse, this like does nothing. And I find that like a thinner layer does better for me than a thicker layer. For some reason, if I put a lot on, my skin is itchy. um, and if I do like just a thin layer, it just seems to protect it and do a good enough job. So, but as like a treatment, it doesn't do anything because there's nothing in here to treat the eczema. All it is a skin protectant and maybe helps it like keep it a little bit more moisturized. So if you're looking for something to kind of reduce the redness or the irritation, or even like an instant dryness fix, this won't really do anything for you, I don't think. At least it doesn't for me. So the price point is nice. It's nice and cheap, but doesn't really do too much. The things that I have found very effective though, one being obviously prescription. I only use this, and the doctor said the same thing. Only use this when my skin is flaring up really bad, when it's just at another level that the other things that I have here don't really help. And I did, like I said, have to get a prescription for this. The doctor recommended it. I think it was like $10 after my insurance. And I think it's just a steroid cream, and I don't know how to say it, so I'll just put it up there so you can read it and ask a doctor about it if you have eczema and are curious. But it does, if my skin is flaring up really badly, this does help. But you should only, like, you use a Q-tip. You don't want to put this on your skin, because basically what it does is it thins the skin, and I think just cuts down that flare up that's happening. But you use a Q-tip, and you're only supposed to put it on the affected area, because you don't want to put it on a non-affected area because it thins the skin. Like it can cause irritation. Um, and a little, I've had this tube for so long. A little bit goes a really long way. Um, I think I'll have that for a really long time. Over-the-counter products that I have found helpful, the one that I was mentioning that my friend uses on her daughter is the Eucerin Calming Cream. This is just a little tube of it, which actually came with this calming wash, which I used on my hands today because I just bought this today to try it, and it came with a little mini of this. I think this might help because my skin overall, just a side note, has been so dry this winter. It's kind of blowing my mind a little bit because and maybe I'm changing, maybe it's just a super dry season. I'm not sure. Maybe the fact that I'm not using, I mean, for a couple of years I was using the When Hope Is Not Enough on my face. Then I tried the Bobbi Brown's Hydrating Intense or Intense Hydrating Night Cream. Loved it. Super moisturizing. I used it, you know, winter into summer, and then I just finished it a little bit ago. Then, rather than repurchasing that, which I would have, but I bought a kit from Philosophy that contained the When Hope Is Not Enough, no, Hope in a Jar. Sorry, that's what I meant. I decided I would just use that, but it hasn't been as moisturizing for me. It feels like it's doing nothing actually. So, it's just weird. So not only is my face extra dry, but just my whole body in general, the skin has just been on a whole nother level when it comes to dryness. So I figured I would try this, and maybe it'll help on my eczema patches as well. Because this is a shower oil, fragrance free, supposed to be good for dry, itchy skin and sensitive skin, I think. It has omega oils. It's supposed to be fragrance free, but it is. It doesn't have an added perfume, but it does have a scent to it. Probably like just the scent of the ingredients, and it's not my favorite. But well, I'll try it on my whole body tonight and see how it goes. But anyway, it came with this little one, which this stuff is very helpful. It's the Eucerin Calming Cream. This has colloidal oatmeal in it as well, which is just a very good, you know, calming ingredient for the skin. This is very nice and moisturizing. It's lightweight compared to some of the other products that I have here. It's not greasy. You could use this all over your body. It's just a nice moisturizer. And the nice thing is, because it's Eucerin, you can find it just about anywhere. Any drugstore, Target, Walmart, wherever. So I use that when it's not maybe bad enough to use the prescription cream, not, you know, good enough, like, you know, normal enough skin to use the Vaseline just as a protectant, is when I use either the calming cream from Eucerin or this First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Concentrate. And I've used in years past the Ultra Repair Cream, which I love that stuff. It is kind of pricey, especially for how fast I go through that stuff, because I like it not only just on irritated patches, but all over my skin. It's just an amazing, and I think I have a video, or at least I've mentioned it before about that stuff, but I love it. Doesn't really smell like anything, calms your skin, moisturizing, soaks right in. Love it. So when I saw this on Sephora, the concentrate, I was really curious about it and tried it. I don't use this all over my body necessarily like I did the Ultra Repair Cream, but I mean, you could if you wanted. It would just use quite a bit of it and you would be greasy because it is a balm. And you can't use it on your face. It says face and body balm. I want to say this was about $25, which is a little bit more expensive, but because it's such a thick balm and a little bit goes a long way, it's kind of cost efficient because of that. I mean, you use such a little bit. I've had this for a really long time. I want to say close to a year. I'm not sure. I would have to look, but I'm not even halfway through it. I mean, there's a dip in the middle, but I don't think it. I don't think I've reached the halfway point yet. And I actually, I've used this a couple times on my face. The first time I used it on my face was when I tried that Dove soap to incorporate that in my skincare routine, which ruined my skin, I feel like, for a little bit. It gave me those really painful deep under the skin breakouts and dried out my skin like nobody's business. Flaky, like sandpaper feeling dry. And I used this in a couple days and it saved my skin. And then because my hope is when my hope in a jar hasn't been working that well, like hasn't been enough moisture for me, I actually used this last night on my face and woke up to perfectly moisturized skin. Hallelujah. You just take a little bit, warm it between your palms, and like for my face, I just smooth it on my face, and I just do the same thing, take a little bit and use it on my eczema patches on my feet, or if I have dry elbows, wherever. This stuff really is really nice. I like it a lot. And I think that's pretty much it. That's my, you know, team of eczema fighters. It never completely goes away on me, unfortunately. But the products here are have been the best defense for making it really bad or irritating. Because like I said earlier, the worst part of it is the itchiness. The second part being it just looks bad. It just looks like a scary thing is wrong with your skin. So this stuff helps make it more normal. And if I happen to have like a flare up from eating gluten because of my celiac, these things tend to help that too because they're just calming, gentle, for sensitive skin. It's really good. So even if you don't have eczema per se, if you have that dry, itchy, irritated skin related to something else, some of these products may help you with that. Like this First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Concentrate. I mean, it also says used to repair dry, cracked skin. Um, this is just great if you have super dry skin. And the calming cream, I see no reason why you can't use this just as an all-over body lotion. If you're like more dry in the winter or you just want a sensitive, nice, calming body lotion. They're just things that happen to work really well for me on the eczema that I have on the top of my feet. So, thank you in advance for not being totally turned off by my eczema video. Um, I just I just wanted to put it out there because I know there's so many people out there that suffer from it. And now, especially that I've had a solid diagnosis, like I know that's what it is. It's not anything else. Because sometimes they just kind of guess or they go by looking at it that, oh, that's eczema. Maybe it's something else. You never know. Sometimes our allergies or irritations or anything, I mean, there's a couple ways like our body tries to get rid of stuff. We like throw it up or whatever, or it tries to come out through our skin. Our body, it's like, no, get out of here. And our skin is an organ that can sometimes show that our body's trying to get rid of stuff. And it's like hives and their patches from like eating gluten, like what I get. So, yeah, that's it. If you have questions or if you have advice for me, like if you have eczema and you found there are other things that I haven't mentioned that have worked really well for you, I'm always open to new ideas. Maybe there's something here, or something that you know that works better than what I have here. That's the great thing about YouTube. I mean, I can put out, hey, this is what worked great for me, and then you counteract like, oh, but here's what's worked great for me. It's an awesome way to find new great products that work. So, that being said, I hope everybody has had a great weekend and will have a great Thanksgiving. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Thanks.